Well, good evening, Ready Network. Happy Sunday evening to you. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. I did. It was filled with so much rest and relaxation, but some work as well. You can't get away from work, especially when you are a leader, right? So this evening, we are going to talk about something that is very, very vital to safe patient care and uh, the ability of a nurse to express clinical judgment at the point of care. I'm so glad that you are here tonight. Whether you just came off of a shift, whether you're about to go in, or whether you're watching this later on your break, thank you for spending this time with us. Drop where you're watching from in the chat. I love to see where you are from and where you're watching from. Okay, for anyone joining us for the first time, my name is Savetria Bonaparte. I'm a registered nurse, a nurse educator, nurse leader. Um, my list goes on and on and on. I've spent 36 years in this profession. Yep, 36 years. Bedside, of course, when I was a new graduate, leadership, academia. I'm also a United States Army veteran. Um, I worked in professional development. I have watched over the years practice change, changes in standards, technology changes, entire models come and go. And I've watched one thing stay exactly the same. What do you think that is? I'll give you a minute to think about it. Put it in the chat for me. What do you think that constant thing is? Okay, time's up. Let's go ahead and dive in. Let's go ahead and dive in and talk about it. The purpose of our organization, I am the founder and the executive director. We're a nonprofit organization. We exist to advance the quality, integrity, and real world readiness of nursing practice by defining what those readiness standards are, promoting ethical professional conduct, and supporting evidence based frameworks that protect patients and strengthen the workforce. That's the work: standards, ethics, evidence, and a workforce that is strong enough to hold the line for the patients. And in this broadcast is where we do the first part of that out loud. We name the broken part honestly, and then we don't stop there. We find solutions and we begin to build. So tonight's question, I'd like to talk about a number. I know you're curious to know what number. What are you talking about? Number, what? The number of nurses on your unit tonight. Let's see, it is 7:12, so you're probably changing shifts right now. But what I want to know is the number of nurses on your unit tonight. Put it in the chat, drop it in the chat for me. Or the number of nurses from your first shift, from the day shift, if you can recall. Now, the thing is not whether it's enough. You already know the answer to that. I want to show you where that number actually comes from. The real arithmetic. Who ran it, when they ran it, and what they were solving for. Because in 36 years, I can tell you most nurses have never once been shown, maybe a few, the formula that governs their entire working life. We'll do it in two halves. First, how staffing is actually calculated in your organization right now. Not the version in the policy manual, the real one. Second, what it should be instead. Let's get into it. How it actually works. Here's the chain. Follow it with me because every link matters. It starts about 10 months before your shift. During the annual budget, finance sets a target for your unit called hours per patient day. How many nursing hours that unit or your unit is allowed to spend per patient per day. Where does that target come from? Two places. Last year's actual numbers and a benchmark database. What other hospitals of similar size and type of spending? Sit with that for just a minute. 10 months ago, your staffing target is set by comparing your hospital to the average of other hospitals. Then finance applies a margin target, which almost always means the number comes down slightly from last year. That's called productivity improvement. Second link. That target becomes a grid, a matrix, if you would, a table taped inside the med room or living in the scheduling system. Census of 20, you get this many nurses. Census of 24, you get this many. Okay? The grid is the budget translated into bodies. Ding, 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 ding. The third link, 6 weeks out, the schedule is built into the grid. You following me so far? Okay. We're on the fourth link. The day of, the staffing office runs the grid against census and adjusts. Somebody floats, somebody gets called off, somebody goes on low census. Either of those can take place. The fifth link. Afterward, census gets captured often one snapshot, frequently at midnight. And that becomes the official record of how many patients you had. Stay with me. Sixth link, and this is the one nobody showed you. That census gets multiplied by the target to produce earned hours. Earned hours get compared to worked hours. The difference is called variance. And that variance report goes to your manager with her name on it. Breathe. Woosah. That's the chain. Budget to grid to schedule to daily flex to census to variance report. How are you feeling so far about what I just told you? I want to hear what you have to say. Now notice what is nowhere in what I just laid out for you. Your patients, your team, your right. Okay, now we're going to switch lanes and let's talk about what's wrong with that. What is the problem with that? There are 5 problems, and none of them are small, I promise. Number 1, the whole thing is a financial calculation wearing clinical clothing. Okay? Not one number in that chain came from a clinical question. Hours per patient day is an accounting ratio. The grid is a budget. Variance is a financial report. Every input is financial. And then we hand the output to a nurse and call it a care plan. Number 2, benchmarking. So the average makes the average the standard, right? Benchmarking to the average makes the average the standard. If your target is set by what comparable hospitals are doing, and they're all short, then you're being measured against understaffing. We have 30 years of literature telling us the industry average is not safe. Did you hear me? We have 30 years of literature, some peer-reviewed, most scholarly, telling us the industry average is not safe. So the benchmark doesn't correct the problem. The benchmark launders it. And number 3, midnight census erases most of your work, point blank. You admitted 3 and discharged 4. Between 7 and 11, all of it, assessment, orders, education, coordination, documentation. The families happened. You didn't. And at midnight, when the number is pulled, it never occurred. Sorry to tell you, it didn't happen. 2 units, same census, one turned over 8 patients, one turned over one. The system records those as identical nights. Every nurse watching knows they are not. Okay, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure that out. Number 4, the grid assumes every nurse is the same nurse. Wrong. A nurse in week 6 of orientation does not carry what a nurse in year 4 carries. We've known that since our first day on the floor. Now, it may make some adjustments for those that are still being precepted, new grads. It may make some adjustments for that. The grid doesn't show, it doesn't know. The grid counts as a box. It's a checkbox. The grid doesn't know it, all right? So the schedule lies twice to us about the new nurse who's holding more than she should probably be holding, about her preceptor who is quietly carrying 2 assignments and getting credit for 1. Are we tracking? And let me name something about the acuity tools, because a lot of you have one and a lot of you have stopped filling it out honestly. And guess what? I understand why. You scored high acuity, nothing changed. You scored high again, nothing changed. So you stopped putting your time into it. And now leadership can stand up in a meeting and say the acuity data doesn't support the increased staffing. That is not nurses being non-compliant. That is what people do when you hand them a tool with no authority attached to it. Which brings us to number 5. This is the one that keeps me up. Your manager's evaluation is tied to labor variance. Think about what that means. The person you go to when the unit isn't safe is the same person personally graded on how much labor that unit spent. We took the leader closest to the bedside and made her the enforcement arm of the budget against her own staff. Are you feeling what I'm screaming? That's not a bad manager. That's a structural conflict of interest. And no amount of good character survives it forever. It just doesn't. So look at the chain one time. Look at the chain one more time. Let's check out the chain. Finance answers to margin. The staffing office answers to the grid. The manager answers to the variance. And the nurse is the only person in that entire chain accountable to the patient. And the only one with no authority over the number. That's the design. It is working exactly as it is built. So what really should determine it? What should determine it? What should determine it? So now is our time for building. We're brainstorming, we're thinking ahead. First, workload measured, not countered. I'm going to say that again. Workload measured, not counted. Now, not how many patients, how much work, which has to capture what current systems refuse to see. It's like a churn. Every admit, discharge, and transfer carries a fixed charge of real work. And the care that isn't a task, the patient who is actively dying, the family who needs someone in the room, the confused patient who cannot be left alone, that is some of the most important nursing anybody does. And it appears in almost no acuity system. Not in this country, because it doesn't generate a bill. Second, the real capacity of the team on the floor tonight is not the head count. Capacity and orienting nurse carries a portion of an assignment that grows in a defined schedule. Her preceptor carries a reduced assignment for as long as she's precepting. Funded, budgeted, protected. Not a favor. Not something we do when it's slow. Third, let's talk about the condition of the environment. This is practice readiness at the unit level. And this is the crux or the place where our organization dwells in readiness. This is practice readiness at the unit level. And this is what nobody scores. Did the documentation system change in the last 30 days? Is there a unit secretary tonight? Or is a nurse doing clerical work while a patient decompensates down the hall? Is the unit one pod or split down two corridors so you can't see half your patients? Every one of those is real. Every one is measurable, and every one gets waved off in staffing meetings as an excuse instead of a condition. Fourth, positions that never count in the assignment. Charge nurse. Most oftentimes, she has no patients. And that's for a reason. No patients, full stop, no patients. A charge nurse with 4 patients is not running a unit. Come on, stop it. She's not running a unit. She's drowning while holding a title. Practice leave, preceptor hours, break relief, staffed as a position, not offered as hope. Fifth. I was like, bruh, man, just now. Fifth, funded reserve. And hear me on this one. Every hospital in this country already pays for variability. Every single one. The only question is whether you pay for it up front, in planned reserve, or on the back end in overtime, agency rates, moral injury, and the cost of replacing the nurse who finally left. One is a budget line, the other is a bill that comes due anyway with interest. Woo! So let's talk about the guardrail. Now, the guardrail, because everything I just described can be turned into a weapon, and I'm going to say it out loud how. Readiness can only ever lower an assignment, it can never raise one. A strong, experienced, fully ready team does not get more patience. If being good at your job becomes the reason you get a heavier load, you've built a machine that punishes your best nurses. And they will leave. And they should. That has to be structurally impossible, not discouraged, impossible, written where administration cannot reach it. And the hard floor underneath that the math is never allowed to go below. Never one RN alone on a unit. Never a charge nurse in the assignment. So who decides? Who decides? Who makes the decision? Who's allowed to change the number? And I want this deliberately lopsided. The charge nurse can add staff on her own judgment. That's the whole approval process. Nobody on the operational side can subtract, because adding staff is a clinical decision made by the person standing there with her own license on the line. Cutting staff is a financial one. And financial decisions, they don't get made at 2 a.m. by someone reading a dashboard in an office building. Nothing in that second half is radical. Every nurse watching could have written that list. Every nurse. That's the part that should bother all of us. It isn't hard. It's not hard. It's that staffing in this country is answering a financial question. And we have been asking nurses to absorb the difference with their bodies, their minds, their emotions, and their licenses. We are the largest workforce in healthcare. We are not powerless. That's leverage. But we have to stop arguing about the number and start arguing about the formula that produced it. If anything tonight resonated, landed, I want you inside this work for us. That is what the INIRC is for. And there's a place for you. Scan that QR code, read about us, see what we're doing. We're doing lots of cool things. And come build with us. I'm Savetria. Take care of your patients. Take care of each other, most of all, right? Have to take care of each other. Nurses take care of each other. In addition, almost forgot, we have open membership. We have open membership to the INIRC. Guys, we have 3 levels of membership. You advance to the next level based on um, the work that you've put in. Um, we are we have deliberately built it around professionalism. So check it out. Um, yeah, scan that QR code, check us out, and I look forward to seeing you at the next session. Take care, guys. Bye bye.